The smell of burnt coffee and grease clings to my uniform even after 3 showers. It's embedded in the fabric now, in my skin, in my hair. $7.50 an hour plus tips that barely cover the gas to get here. But Rosie's Diner is the good job. The one with the semi-reliable schedule. The one where the owner doesn't try to cop a feel when I reach for plates. I'm wiping down the same booth for the third time, killing the last 15 minutes of my double shift when my phone buzzes. The screen lights up with a number I don't recognize, but the area code makes my stomach drop. Chicago Public Schools. Ms. Torres? The voice is kind, but tired. This is Principal Matthews from Riverside Elementary. We need you to come pick up your son. My hand tightens around the phone. Is he hurt? No, nothing like that. But there was an incident at lunch today, and I think it's better if we discuss this in person. An incident? That could mean anything from a playground scuffle to something worse. With 7-year-old Danny, it's usually something worse. Not because he's bad, but because he's hungry. And hungry kids make desperate choices. I clock out early, losing the last precious dollars of my shift, and drive my rusted 2008 Honda Civic across town. The check engine light has been on for 3 months. I've learned to ignore it, along with the grinding noise when I turn left and the way the heater only works on the highest setting or not at all. The elementary school sits in a neighborhood slightly better than ours, full of families who can afford music lessons and soccer cleats. I park between a Mercedes SUV and a Tesla, feeling the familiar burn of shame in my chest. Principal Matthews is waiting in her office, and so is Danny. My son sits in a chair that's too big for him, his SpongeBob backpack clutched in his lap, his dark eyes rimmed with red. He's been crying. The sight of it makes my chest ache. Thank you for coming so quickly, Ms. Torres. Principal Matthews gestures to the empty chair beside Danny. Please, sit. I sink into the chair and reach for Danny's hand. It's small and cold in mine. What happened, baby? He doesn't answer, just stares at his sneakers. The left one has a hole near the toe. I've been meaning to get him new ones, but new shoes cost money I don't have. Principal Matthews folds her hands on her desk. During lunch today, Danny was caught trying to steal food from another student's lunchbox. When the lunch monitor intervened, he became quite upset. The words hit me like a slap. Stealing food. My son was stealing food because I can't afford to give him enough. I pack him lunch every morning, I say, my voice tight. He had a sandwich and an apple. Mom. Danny's whisper cuts through my defense. I gave my lunch to Marcus. His mom forgot to pack him one, and he was crying. Of course he did. Of course my sweet, generous boy gave away his own food to help someone else. And then he went hungry. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. I understand, Principal Matthews says gently. And that was very kind of Danny. But the stealing cannot happen again. I know times are difficult for many families. We're fine, I lie, because admitting the truth feels like failure. It won't happen again. But as I lead Danny out of the school, his small hand in mine, I know it's not true. We're not fine. We're drowning. And no matter how hard I swim, the water keeps rising. That night, I work my second job at Bellissimo, an upscale Italian restaurant in River North, where the appetizers cost more than my weekly grocery budget. It's Friday, which means the place is packed with businessmen and couples celebrating anniversaries, dropping hundreds of dollars on wine they can't pronounce. I'm supposed to be in the back, doing prep work in the kitchen, but Jessica called in sick again, which means I'm covering her section, wearing the black dress uniform that's a size too tight because I can't afford to replace it. My feet ache in the heels I've resoled twice. My back throbs from the diner shift, and all I can think about is Danny, home alone in our studio apartment, heating up canned soup for dinner because I couldn't afford to pay both the babysitter and the electric bill this month. He's 7 years old, and I'm leaving him alone because I have no choice. The guilt sits like a stone in my stomach as I smile at table 12, a group of men in suits that probably cost more than my car. They order a bottle of wine that costs $400 without blinking. I pour it carefully, my hands steady despite my exhaustion, and retreat to the kitchen. Elena. Marco, the floor manager, grabs my arm as I pass. His fingers dig in slightly and I resist the urge to pull away. Table 7, VIP, they just arrived. My stomach sinks. VIP means important. Important means demanding. Demanding means higher tips, but also higher stakes. One mistake could cost me this job. Who are they? I ask. Marco's eyes dart around the kitchen. Just be professional, efficient, don't ask questions. Which tells me everything I need to know. Connected. The kind of men who dine at Bellissimo not because they love Italian food, but because the owner pays protection money. I grab my notepad and push through the doors to the private dining room in the back. The private dining room is dimmer than the main restaurant, lit by candles and a small chandelier that casts golden light across dark wood and leather. 6 men sit around a circular table, but my eyes go immediately to the one at the head. He's younger than I expected, maybe mid-30s, with dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from marble. His suit is impeccable, charcoal gray with subtle pinstripes, and everything about him radiates power. Not the kind that comes from money alone, but the kind that makes other men nervous. His eyes find mine as I enter, and for a moment I forget how to breathe. They're dark, almost black in the low light, and utterly cold. Good evening, gentlemen. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. I'm Elena, and I'll be your server tonight. May I start you with drinks? I move around the table, taking orders, trying not to shake. The men speak in low voices, mixing English and Italian. I catch fragments, shipments, territories, percentages. Nothing I want to understand. When I reach the man at the head of the table, he doesn't immediately give me his drink order. Instead, he studies me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. You speak Italian, he says. Not a question, a statement. Yes, sir. My mother was from Naples. Was, past tense, because she's been gone for 3 years now, and I still dream about her Sunday gravy simmering on the stove. Whiskey, he says finally. Neat. I nod and turn to leave when the door to the private dining room bursts open. My heart stops. Danny stands in the doorway, his SpongeBob backpack on his shoulders, his eyes wide and frightened. He's breathing hard, like he's been running. Mama. He rushes toward me and I drop to my knees, catching him. Mama, I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to come here, but I was so hungry and I thought maybe you could give me something. My hands shake as I hold him. He's not supposed to be here. He's supposed to be home. Safe. Locked inside our apartment. But of course he came. Of course my hungry, brave boy walked 6 blocks in the dark to find me because there's nothing to eat at home. I'm sorry, I whisper, smoothing his hair. Baby, I'm so sorry. Miss Torres. Marco's voice cuts through my panic. He's in the doorway, his face pale. You need to handle this. Now. I stand, keeping Danny close. I apologize, gentlemen. My son wasn't supposed to. He's hungry. The voice comes from the man at the head of the table, the one with the cold eyes. But his expression has changed. Something softer, almost painful, flickers across his face as he looks at Danny. Is that right, kid? He asks, his voice gentler than I expected. You're hungry? Danny nods, clutching my uniform. Then, to my horror, he unzips his backpack and pulls out his empty lunchbox, the one I packed this morning, the one he gave away, and holds it up. "We have no food at home," Danny says, his voice small and ashamed. "Mama works all the time, but we still don't have food." The room goes silent. Every man at the table is staring at us, at my son's empty lunchbox, at me, the mother who can't feed her child. Shame burns through me, hot and terrible. I want to disappear. I want to grab Danny and run, but my feet won't move. The man at the head of the table stands. He's tall, easily over 6 feet, and when he moves toward us, I instinctively pull Danny behind me. He stops a few feet away, his eyes on Danny, not me. "What's your name?" "Daniel Torres." My son's voice is barely a whisper, but everyone calls me Danny. "Danny." The man crouches down so he's at eye level with my son. "My name is Alessio, and I think we can do something about that empty lunchbox." He pulls out his phone, taps the screen, and speaks in rapid Italian to someone on the other end. Within minutes, a server appears with a tray laden with food: pasta carbonara, garlic bread, a plate of meatballs, a slice of tiramisu. "Sit," Alessio says, gesturing to an empty chair at the table. "Eat." Danny looks up at me, uncertain. I should refuse. I should take my son and leave. But he's so hungry, and the food smells like heaven, and I can't remember the last time he had a real meal. I nod, and Danny scrambles into the chair, attacking the pasta like he hasn't eaten in days. Which, honestly, he probably hasn't. Not properly. Alessio stands and turns to me. Up close, he's even more intimidating. Broad shoulders, sharp jaw, eyes that see too much. "How long?" he asks quietly. "I'm sorry?" "How long have you been struggling to feed your son?" The question is so direct, so stripped of judgment that I can't lie. 6 months, since his father left. Something dark flashes in Alessio's eyes. "Left you with nothing. Left us with debt." The words spill out before I can stop them. "And a restraining order that's worth less than the paper it's printed on." Section 3. The recognition. Alessio's jaw tightens. He doesn't speak for a long moment. Just watches Danny devour the pasta like it's his last meal. When he finally looks back at me, his expression is unreadable. "Go back to work," he says. "Your son stays here until you're finished with your shift. He'll be safe." Every instinct screams at me to refuse. I don't know this man. I don't leave my son with strangers, especially not strangers who radiate danger the way he does. But Marco is watching from the doorway, panic written across his face. And Danny is eating, really eating, for the first time in days. And I need this job more than I need my pride. "Okay," I whisper. "Thank you." I work the rest of my shift in a daze, my mind spinning. Every time I pass the private dining room, I peek inside. Danny is still there, working on the tiramisu now, while the men around the table conduct their business as if a 7-year-old boy isn't sitting among them. Alessio barely glances at me when I bring their drinks, but I feel his awareness like a physical touch. He knows exactly where I am at every moment. It's past midnight when the party finally breaks up. The men file out, speaking in low voices, while I hover nervously in the hallway. Finally, Alessio emerges with Danny's hand in his. My son looks sleepy but content, his belly finally full. There's chocolate on his chin from the tiramisu. "He fell asleep during dessert," Alessio says, his voice low. "But he fought it. Stubborn kid. He gets that from me." I reach for Danny, but Alessio doesn't immediately let go. "The man who left you," he says quietly. "The one with the restraining order. Is he still a problem?" Ice runs down my spine. Why? Because I'm making it my business now. The words should terrify me. They should send me running in the opposite direction. But something in his eyes, something fierce and protective, makes me pause. "I don't understand," I whisper. You will. He finally releases Danny's hand, letting my son stumble into my arms. Go home, Elena. Feed your child. Get some sleep. He turns to leave, but I call after him. Wait. I don't even know who you are. He pauses in the doorway, his profile sharp in the dim light. Yes, you do. And then he's gone, disappearing into the night with his entourage of dangerous men. I carry Danny out to my car, my mind reeling. Marco is waiting by the exit, his face pale. Elena, he says urgently. Do you know who that was? He said his name was Alessio. Alessio Moretti. Marco grips my arm. He owns this restaurant, and about 20 others across Chicago, and businesses that have nothing to do with restaurants. The pieces click into place. The VIP treatment, the private dining room, the way everyone moved around him with a mixture of respect and fear. Alessio Moretti. I've heard the name whispered in the kitchen, seen it in the newspaper in connection with investigations that never quite stick. He's not just connected to organized crime. He is organized crime in Chicago, and I just let him feed my son. I buckle Danny into the back seat, my hands shaking. He's already asleep, exhausted from his adventure. I slide behind the wheel and sit there for a long moment, trying to process what just happened. A powerful, dangerous man saw my son's empty lunchbox and fed him. Without hesitation. Without expectation. Just kindness. Or was it? Men like Alessio Moretti don't do anything without a reason. There's always an angle, always a price. He said he was making my situation his business. What does that mean? I'm halfway home when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Elena Torres? The voice is professional, female. Yes? My name is Sophia. I work for Mr. Moretti. He wanted me to inform you that a grocery delivery will arrive at your home tomorrow morning. It's already paid for. My throat tightens. I can't accept that. It's already arranged. There's a pause. He also wanted me to tell you that you don't need to work the diner shift anymore. Mr. Moretti has spoken with the owner of Bellissimo. You'll be working full-time there, with a significant increase in pay and benefits that include childcare. What? My voice comes out as a squeak. He can't just... He can, Miss Torres. And he has. The details will be sent to your email tonight. Have a good evening. She hangs up before I can protest. I sit at a red light, staring at my phone, my heart pounding. This is insane. This is too much. This is a stranger. A dangerous stranger. Inserting himself into my life without permission. But it's also food for Danny. And childcare. And the ability to keep my son safe and fed. What am I supposed to do with that? I glance in the rearview mirror at Danny, fast asleep in his booster seat. His face is peaceful for the first time in months. Full belly, safe, loved. And that's when I realize I'm not going to refuse Alessio Moretti's help. I'm going to accept it, even though I have no idea what it will cost me. Because when you're drowning and someone throws you a rope, you don't ask questions. You just hold on and pray it's not a noose. The grocery delivery arrives at 7 in the morning, carried by 2 men in polo shirts who don't make eye contact. They fill my tiny kitchen with food I've only seen in other people's carts. Organic produce, quality meat, fresh bread, pasta from Italy, olive oil that probably costs more than my rent. Danny wakes up to the commotion and stands in his pajamas, staring at the overflowing counters with wide eyes. Mama, is it Christmas? My throat tightens. No, baby. Someone was very kind to us. Mr. Alessio? Danny's face lights up. He's nice, Mama. He told me stories while you were working, about Italy and his nonna's cooking. I don't know what to do with that information. A mafia boss telling my son bedtime stories while conducting whatever dark business he conducts. The email from Sophia arrives while Danny is eating scrambled eggs. Real eggs. Not the generic brand that's mostly water. The message is professional and thorough. New employment terms at Bellissimo. Salary that's triple what I was making. Health insurance that actually covers things. And enrollment for Danny at Riverside Elementary's after-school program, fully paid. There's also a note at the bottom. Mr. Moretti would like to speak with you today at 2 p.m. A car will pick you up. Childcare will be provided. Not a request, an expectation. I stare at the screen, my coffee growing cold in my hand. This is how it starts, I think. This is how he hooks you, with kindness that feels like salvation but comes with invisible strings. But what choice do I have? Say no and go back to struggling? Watch Danny's face fall when the food runs out again? The car that arrives at 1:45 is a black Mercedes with tinted windows. The driver is older, with kind eyes and a slight Italian accent. He introduces himself as Dante and opens the back door like I'm someone important. "Where's Danny?" I ask, suddenly panicked about leaving him. "Already picked up from school, Miss Torres. He's at Mr. Moretti's home with Maria, the housekeeper. She raised 4 boys of her own. He's safe." The casual way he says Mr. Moretti's home makes my stomach flip. My son is at a crime boss's house with a stranger. This should terrify me. It does terrify me. But I get in the car anyway because I'm not sure what else to do. We drive north, out of my neighborhood with its chain-link fences and corner stores, into areas where houses have actual yards and the cars don't have rust. Then further into estates with gates and circular driveways. Alessio's house isn't a house. It's a compound. Stone walls, security cameras, a gate that slides open silently as we approach. The main building is modern glass and steel, somehow both cold and beautiful against the gray November sky. Dante leads me inside, through a foyer with marble floors and a chandelier that probably costs more than I'll make in a lifetime. I can hear Danny's laughter echoing from somewhere deeper in the house, and the sound loosens the knot in my chest slightly. "Mr. Moretti is in his office," Dante says, gesturing down a hallway. "Last door on the right." I walk slowly, taking in the artwork on the walls. Originals, I realize, not prints. Everything here whispers of money and power and danger. I knock once on the heavy wooden door. "Come in." Alessio sits behind a massive desk, laptop open, phone to his ear. He's speaking rapid Italian, his voice hard and commanding. When he sees me, he holds up one finger, "Wait," and continues his conversation. I stand awkwardly in the doorway studying him. In daylight, he's even more striking. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, dark eyes that miss nothing. He's wearing a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms corded with muscle. There's a thin scar running along his left hand, disappearing into his sleeve. He ends the call and sets the phone down. "Elena, sit." Not, "Please sit," or "Would you like to sit?" Just a command, spoken with the certainty that I'll obey. I sit, perching on the edge of a leather chair that probably costs more than my car. "The grocery delivery arrived?" he asks. "Yes, it was too much. It was necessary." He leans back in his chair, studying me. "Your son shouldn't go hungry because his father is a coward." The bluntness of it catches me off guard. "You don't know anything about Danny's father." "I know enough. I know he left you with debt and a restraining order. I know he hasn't paid child support in 6 months. I know he's currently living in an apartment in Oak Park with his new girlfriend, while his son steals food from other children." Ice runs through my veins. "How do you?" "I make it my business to know things, Elena. Especially when something captures my attention." "And I've captured your attention?" The question comes out sharper than I intend. "Why?" He's quiet for a long moment, his dark eyes locked on mine. Because your son walked into my private dining room with an empty lunchbox and broke something in me I thought was already too broken to feel. The rawness in his voice steals my breath. This isn't the cold, commanding man who ordered me to sit. This is something else. Something vulnerable. I don't understand what you want from me, I whisper. I want to help you. He stands and moves around the desk, leaning against it, closer now. I want to make sure you and Danny never go hungry again, never struggle again, never have to be afraid again. Why? Because I can. He crosses his arms. And because watching your son's face when he saw food last night reminded me what it's like to be hungry. Really hungry. The kind that makes you desperate. There's a story there, hidden in the shadows of his words. But before I can ask, a woman's voice interrupts. Alessio, Danny wants to show you the Lego tower he... An older woman stops in the doorway, taking in the scene. She's in her 60s, warm brown eyes, flour on her apron. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a meeting. Maria, this is Elena, Danny's mother. Alessio's voice softens when he speaks to her. Elena, this is Maria. She runs this house and everything in it. Maria's face brightens. The boy's mother. He's wonderful, Miss Elena. So polite. So smart. He's been helping me make gnocchi. She grins. Well, mostly eating the dough, but still. Despite everything, I smile. That sounds like Danny. Come see him, Maria says. He keeps asking when you'll get here. I glance at Alessio, uncertain. He nods. Go. We'll talk more after. I follow Maria through the house, and it's even more impressive from the inside. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a garden, rooms that flow seamlessly into one another, artwork and sculptures that belong in museums. We end up in a kitchen that's bigger than my entire apartment. Stainless steel appliances, marble countertops, and in the middle of it all, Danny, standing on a stool at the counter, his hands covered in flour, his face split in the biggest smile I've seen in months. Mama, look, I'm making gnocchi like Maria's nonna taught her. He's surrounded by little flour-dusted potato dumplings, some perfectly shaped, some looking more like lumpy clouds, but he's happy, fed, safe. And that's when it hits me. I would do anything to keep him this way. Even if it means accepting help from a man who terrifies me. Even if it means entering a world I don't understand. Even if it means owing a debt I might never be able to repay. Dinner is an unexpected affair. Maria insists we stay, and Alessio appears in the kitchen doorway just as she's setting the table, his expression softening when he sees Danny covered in flour. We made so much gnocchi, Mr. Alessio, Danny announces proudly. Maria says we have to eat it fresh or it's not as good. Maria's right about everything, Alessio says, and I catch the genuine affection in his voice. Wash your hands, kid. Let's eat. I expect to be shuffled off to a formal dining room, but instead, we eat at the kitchen table, the four of us, like a strange, mismatched family. Maria serves the gnocchi with brown butter and sage, along with a simple salad and bread that's still warm from the oven. Danny talks nonstop, telling Alessio about school, about his friend Marcus, about the book he's reading. And Alessio listens, really listens, asking questions, remembering details. Marcus is the boy you gave your lunch to, Alessio says. Danny nods, suddenly serious. His mom is sick, like, really sick, and his dad works all the time. Sometimes he doesn't have food. That was kind of you, giving him your lunch. Alessio's voice is gentle. But you should have told your mother you were hungry. I didn't want to make her sad. Danny looks down at his plate. She's always sad when she can't buy stuff. My throat closes. I reach over and squeeze his hand. Baby, you never have to worry about that anymore, okay? Because of Mr. Alessio? Danny looks between us with those two knowing 7-year-old eyes. Because of Mr. Alessio, I confirm quietly. After dinner, Maria whisks Danny off to show him something in the garden, leaving Alessio and me alone at the table. The silence stretches between us, not uncomfortable exactly, but weighted with unspoken things. You're good with him, I say finally. With Danny, you didn't have to be. Alessio refills my wine glass, something Italian and probably expensive. I had a younger brother, Marco. He was 7 when my father was killed. Had. Past tense. What happened? I ask softly. His jaw tightens. My father ran the South Side, controlled the ports, the unions, the restaurants. He was powerful, but he made enemies. One of them decided to send a message. He takes a drink of his wine. They shot him outside our house. Marco saw the whole thing. He was 7 years old, and he watched our father bleed out on the driveway. Horror washes through me. Alessio. Marco never recovered from it. His voice is flat now, emotionless. He started using when he was 15, heroin mostly. I tried everything: rehab, therapy, keeping him close, pushing him away. Nothing worked. He meets my eyes. He overdosed 3 years ago, 22 years old. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. The pain in his eyes is so raw it hurts to look at. I reach across the table and cover his hand with mine. I'm so sorry. He stares at our joined hands like he's forgotten what comfort feels like. When your son walked in with that empty lunchbox, all I could see was Marco, 7 years old and hungry because I was too busy trying to hold my father's empire together to notice he was falling apart. You were a kid yourself, I say firmly. You can't blame yourself for that. I was 18, old enough to step into my father's role, old enough to make choices. His hand turns under mine, his fingers threading through mine. Old enough to have saved him if I'd been paying attention. We sit like that for a long moment, hands clasped, sharing the weight of guilt and loss. Then Danny's laughter drifts in from the garden, bright and unburdened. He's why you're doing this, I say quietly. You see Marco and Danny. I see a second chance. Alessio's thumb brushes across my knuckles, sending an unexpected spark through me. A chance to do it right this time. I should pull my hand away. This is too intimate, too dangerous. But I don't. Instead, I ask, what does doing it right look like? His eyes lock onto mine. Making sure Danny grows up safe, fed, happy. Making sure his mother doesn't have to work herself to death trying to survive. His voice drops lower. Making sure the man who abandoned them pays for it. A chill runs down my spine. Alessio, what did you do? Nothing yet. But there's something dark in his smile. But your ex-husband? The one who hasn't paid child support? He's going to have a very uncomfortable conversation with some associates of mine. And then he's going to start paying every penny he owes you. I should be horrified. I should tell him to stop, that I don't want his help that way. But all I can think is, good. Let him be scared. Let him feel a fraction of the fear he made me feel. You think I'm a monster, Alessio says, reading my expression. I think you're dangerous. I don't pull my hand away. But I don't think you're a monster. Monsters don't make gnocchi with 7-year-olds. He laughs, the sound surprising and warm. Maria would agree with you. She thinks I need more gnocchi making in my life. Less business. Maybe she's right. Maybe. His expression grows serious again. Elena, I need you to understand something. The help I'm offering, the job, the food, the protection, it comes with risks. My enemies will see you and Danny as leverage if they know you're important to me. Am I? The question slips out before I can stop it. Important to you? He doesn't hesitate. Yes. The single word hangs between us, heavy with implication. Important. Not just because of Marco, not just because Danny reminded him of his lost brother, but because of something else. Something that makes my pulse quicken and my breath catch. I should go, I whisper, even though I don't want to. It's a school night. Dante will drive you home. Alessio stands but doesn't release my hand. Elena, if anything happens, anything that makes you uncomfortable, anything that scares you, you call me. Day or night. I don't have your number. He pulls out his phone, taps the screen, and my phone buzzes in my pocket. You do now. The next 2 weeks pass in a blur of surreal normality. I work at Bellissimo 5 nights a week, but my duties have shifted. Instead of waiting tables, I'm translating for Alessio during business meetings, managing reservations for the private dining room, coordinating with his legitimate business operations. The pay is absurd, the work is easy, and I see Alessio every single day. He shows up at Danny's school for the Halloween parade, standing in the back with the other parents, his expensive suit drawing stares. Danny spots him and waves so enthusiastically he nearly loses his pirate hat. He sends Maria to our apartment with meals 3 times a week. Real Italian cooking that makes Danny's eyes light up. I protest at first, but Maria just pats my cheek and tells me to stop being stubborn. He replaces my car without asking. I come out one morning to find a sensible silver Honda Accord in my parking spot, keys and registration in my mailbox. When I call to argue, he simply says, "The Civic was a death trap. Now you and Danny are safe." I should hate this. The way he makes decisions without consulting me. The way he inserts himself into every aspect of my life. But every time I start to feel suffocated, he does something that reminds me he's not trying to control me. He's trying to take care of me. Like the night I mentioned that Danny needs glasses, and an optometrist shows up at Bellissimo the next day with a full eye exam setup. Danny picks out blue frames covered in stars, and Alessio tells him he looks like a superhero. Or the Saturday morning when Alessio appears at my apartment with tickets to the Children's Museum. Maria says Danny's been talking about the dinosaur exhibit, he explains. I thought we could go. We. As if we're a unit now. That day at the museum, I watch Alessio crouch down to Danny's level in front of the T-Rex skeleton, explaining facts about bite force and extinction with the same intensity he brings to business meetings. Danny hangs on his every word, his small hand tucked trustingly in Alessio's large one, and something in my chest cracks open. This isn't just about debt or guilt or second chances anymore. This is something deeper, something more dangerous. I'm falling for him. For the man who feeds my son gnocchi and listens to his stories. For the man who carries darkness in his eyes but shows up to school parades. For the man who terrifies his enemies but treats my child like he's precious. I'm falling for a man who could destroy me with a single word. The realization terrifies me more than anything in his world. I'm pulled from my thoughts by my phone buzzing, a text from an unknown number. Nice new car. Guess you found a sugar daddy. My blood turns to ice. I know that typing style. The casual cruelty. The possessive tone. Marcus. Danny's father. My ex-husband. Another text arrives. Saw you at the museum, playing happy family with some rich asshole. That's my son. My hands shake. The restraining order is still in effect. He's not supposed to contact me, not supposed to come near Danny. But when has Marcus ever cared about rules? Elena? Alessio's voice cuts through my panic. He's watching me from across the exhibit, Danny still holding his hand. What's wrong? I show him the phone. Watch his expression go from concern to absolutely deadly in the span of a heartbeat. Dante, he calls, and the driver materializes from somewhere in the crowd. Take Danny to get ice cream. Stay with him. But Mama. Danny starts to protest. It's okay, baby. I force my voice to stay calm. I need to talk to Mr. Alessio about grown-up stuff. We'll meet you in 10 minutes. Dante leads Danny away, and Alessio turns to me, his hand gentle on my elbow as he guides me to a quiet corner. How long has he been watching you? His voice is low, controlled, but I can hear the fury underneath. I don't know. The texts just started. Show me everything. I pull up the message history. It's not just today. There are messages from the past week that I somehow missed. Comments about my new job, about the groceries being delivered, about Danny's new glasses. He's been watching us, following us, and I never noticed. He violated the restraining order. Alessio's jaw is tight. That's a criminal offense. The police won't do anything. Bitterness seeps into my voice. They never do. I have a stack of reports from when we were married. The bruises, the threats, nothing ever happened. Something dark flashes in Alessio's eyes. I'm not the police, Elena. A chill runs through me at his tone. What are you going to do? What should have been done the first time he put his hands on you? He cups my face, his touch surprisingly gentle. I'm going to make sure he never comes near you or Danny again. Do you trust me? The question hangs between us. Do I trust him? This man who operates outside the law, who solves problems with violence and intimidation, who could ruin my ex-husband with a single phone call. But when I look in his eyes, I see something that makes the answer simple. I see protection. I see fury on my behalf. I see a man who would burn down the world to keep Danny safe. Yes, I whisper. I trust you. He leans forward and presses his forehead to mine, his breath warm against my lips. Then let me handle this. Let me protect you the way you should have been protected from the beginning. We stand like that for a long moment, surrounded by museum goers and dinosaur skeletons, connected by something stronger than logic or caution. Then his phone buzzes. He checks it, and his expression hardens. Your ex is outside the museum, west entrance. He tucks his phone away. He's been following us the entire time. Fear spikes through me. Danny is safe with Dante. I promise you that. He takes my hand. But we're going to handle this now. Together. We walk through the museum, Alessio's hand firm around mine. His presence draws stares. People can sense danger the way animals sense storms. We push through the west entrance doors, and there, leaning against a beat-up Dodge, is Marcus. He's thinner than I remember, his face harder. Prison will do that, I think bitterly. He spent 6 months inside for assault on his new girlfriend before she dropped the charges. Well. Marcus pushes off the car as we approach. His eyes rake over me with familiar contempt before landing on Alessio. So, this is the asshole who thinks he can replace me. I'm not trying to replace you, Alessio says calmly. That would require you being a father to begin with. Marcus's face flushes red. That's my son. That's a child you abandoned. Alessio's voice drops, taking on an edge that makes the hair on my neck stand up. A child you left hungry while you shacked up with your girlfriend. A child you haven't supported financially or emotionally in 6 months. I got rights. You have nothing. Alessio steps forward, and despite being roughly the same height, he seems to tower over Marcus. You violated a restraining order. You've been stalking Elena and Danny for weeks. And now you're going to listen very carefully to what happens next. I watch, frozen, as Alessio leans in and says something too quiet for me to hear. But I see the color drain from Marcus's face. See the way his hands start to shake. See the moment his bravado crumbles into genuine fear. When Alessio steps back, Marcus looks like he might be sick. You understand? Alessio asks, his voice pleasant now, conversational. Marcus nods jerkily. Yeah, I understand. Good. Alessio pulls out his phone, taps the screen. You'll receive direct deposit of back child support by Monday. Every week from now on, you'll pay double what the court ordered. Consider it a penalty for being a coward. It's not negotiable. Alessio's smile is sharp as a knife. And Marcus? If I see you within a mile of Elena or Danny, if I hear that you've contacted them, if you even think about them too hard, what I just described to you will seem like mercy. Marcus stumbles backward, nearly falling over his own feet. He scrambles into his car and peels out of the parking lot, tires squealing. I stare at Alessio, my heart pounding. What did you say to him? He turns to me, and the coldness fades from his eyes, replaced by something warmer. Nothing he didn't deserve to hear. Alessio. He won't bother you again, Elena. I promise you that. He pulls me close, his arms wrapping around me. You're safe now. Both of you. And standing there in his arms, with Marcus's taillights disappearing in the distance, I believe him. I'm safe. But the question that haunts me as we walk back inside to collect Danny is this. What happens when the thing I need protecting from is my own feelings? Because loving Alessio Moretti might be the most dangerous thing I've ever done. 3 weeks after the confrontation with Marcus, life settles into something that almost feels normal. Danny thrives. His grades improve. He makes friends. He stops hoarding food in his backpack. I work at Bellissimo, translating and managing, and somehow the job feels more real than anything I've done before. And Alessio. Alessio becomes part of our daily life in ways both ordinary and extraordinary. He shows up for Danny's parent-teacher conference sitting beside me in a too-small chair, listening intently as Mrs. Rodriguez explains that Danny is reading above grade level now. He takes us to dinner at restaurants where the waiters know his name and the food is always perfect. He kisses me goodnight at my apartment door but never pushes for more, even though I can see the want in his eyes. It's almost perfect. Which is why I should have known it couldn't last. I'm closing up Bellissimo on a Tuesday night when Marco, the floor manager, pulls me aside. His face is pale, his hands shaking slightly. Elena, I need to tell you something. About Mr. Moretti. Ice floods my veins. What about him? Marco glances around nervously, then lowers his voice. The shipping company he acquired last month? The one you translated for during the negotiations? I nod. I remember that meeting. Italian businessmen, complex contracts, Alessio's hand on my back as he guided me through the conversation. It's being investigated by the FBI. Marco's voice drops to barely a whisper. For drug trafficking. They're saying Alessio knew about the illegal shipments when he bought the company, that he bought it specifically for the drug routes. My stomach drops. That's not... There's more. Marco won't meet my eyes. They think he's using you, that he hired you as his translator to look legitimate, that having a single mother with a clean record working for him makes his operations seem less suspicious. The words hit me like physical blows. Using me. A cover story. A convenient facade. That's not true, I say, but my voice wavers. Alessio wouldn't he? Marco's expression is pitiful. Elena, you're a nice girl, a good mother, but you don't understand this world. Men like Alessio Moretti don't help people out of kindness. Everything is calculated. Everything has a purpose. I think about the grocery deliveries, the new car, the job with the impossible salary, the way Alessio inserted himself into my life so quickly, so completely. Was it all manipulation? I'm telling you this because I like you, Marco continues, and because the FBI is going to come asking questions. They might offer you immunity if you testify about what you've seen, about the meetings you've translated. Testify. Against Alessio. The man who fed my hungry son. The man who made Marcus disappear from our lives. The man who looks at me like I'm something precious. The man who might have been using me all along. I need to go, I whisper. I need to pick up Danny. I drive to Maria's house, where Danny goes after school now, where he's safe and fed and happy. The whole way, my mind spins with Marco's words. Using you. A cover story. Everything is calculated. Maria opens the door with her warm smile, but it fades when she sees my face. Elena, Kara, what's wrong? Is Danny here? In the kitchen, doing homework. She touches my arm gently. What happened? I can't answer. I push past her and find Danny at the kitchen table, his new glasses sliding down his nose as he carefully writes spelling words. He looks up and grins. Mama, look, I got 100 on my math test. I pull him into my arms, holding him too tight. He's solid and real and mine. Whatever else is true, whatever lies I've believed, Danny is what matters. That's wonderful, baby. My voice cracks. Go get your things. We're going home. But Maria was going to teach me how to make cannoli. Not tonight. I can hear the edge in my voice. See Danny's confusion. Please, just get your backpack. He obeys, and I avoid Maria's worried gaze as I gather Danny's belongings. We're almost out the door when Alessio's car pulls into the driveway. My heart hammers as he unfolds from the driver's seat, his expression concerned. Elena, I got a message from Maria that something was wrong. We need to talk. I keep Danny behind me, protective. But not here. Not now. His eyes search my face, and I see the moment he understands that something has shifted. Something has broken. Dante will take Danny home, he says carefully. We can talk at my house? No. The word comes out sharper than I intend. I don't want to go to your house. I don't want your driver taking my son. I just want... I break off, unsure what I want. Space? Truth? A time machine to go back to when I was just a struggling waitress who didn't know men like Alessio Moretti existed? Danny tugs on my hand. Mama, why are you mad at Mr. Alessio? I'm not mad, baby. I force my voice to soften. Mama's just tired. But Alessio's jaw has tightened, and I see something that looks like hurt flash across his face before he locks it down. Let Dante drive you home at least. We can talk tomorrow when you're ready. I nod because I'm too emotionally wrung out to argue. Dante appears from somewhere. They're always nearby, these men of Alessio's, and gently herds Danny toward the car. Danny waves at Alessio, confused by the tension but trusting that the adults will sort it out. If only it were that simple. Alessio catches my wrist before I can follow. Elena, whatever you heard, whatever you think, did you know? The question bursts out of me. About the shipping company? About the drugs? His silence is answer enough. And me? My voice drops to a whisper. Was I just convenient? A nice cover story for your legitimate businessman act? His grip tightens. No, never. Then what am I, Alessio? Tears burn behind my eyes. Because right now, I feel like a fool. Like some stupid woman who let herself believe that a man like you could actually care about someone like me. Someone like you? His voice turns sharp. You mean someone real? Someone good? Someone who makes me remember what it's like to want something other than power and revenge? Pretty words, I say bitterly. But the FBI doesn't care about pretty words. They care about evidence, about testimonies, about translators who witnessed illegal business dealings. Understanding dawns in his eyes. They approached you. Not yet. But they will. I pull my wrist free. And when they do, what am I supposed to say? That I didn't know? That I was just following orders? That I'm another victim of the big bad mobster? You are a victim. I'm not. The words explode out of me. I made choices, Alessio. I accepted your help. I let you into my life. into Danny's life. I knew what you were, and I chose you anyway. That doesn't make me a victim. That makes me complicit. He stares at me, and for the first time since I've known him, Alessio Moretti looks lost. What do you want me to do? I want you to tell me the truth. My voice breaks. All of it. No more calculations. No more strategy. Just the truth. He's quiet for a long moment. Then, the truth is that when I saw Danny's empty lunchbox, I saw my brother. And I thought helping you would be simple. A debt repaid. A second chance to do the right thing. My heart clenches. But then I got to know you, he continues, his voice raw. Your strength. Your love for your son. The way you never once asked me for more than you needed. The way you looked at me like I could be more than what I am. He steps closer. The truth is that I'm in love with you, Elena. Deeply, terrifyingly in love with you. And yes, I should have told you about the shipping company. Yes, I should have warned you that being with me would put you at risk. But I was selfish. I wanted you in my life so badly that I didn't care about the cost. The confession steals my breath. He loves me. This dangerous, powerful man loves me. I love you too, I whisper. That's what makes this so hard. Before he can respond, his phone buzzes. He ignores it, his eyes locked on mine. It buzzes again, and again. Answer it, I say quietly. He pulls out the phone, and I watch his expression shift from frustration to alarm. When? He barks into the phone. How many? A pause. Keep Danny safe. I'm on my way. He ends the call, and his eyes meet mine with an intensity that makes my blood run cold. Elena, I need you to listen very carefully. Someone just tried to grab Danny from Dante's car. The world tilts. What? Dante got him to safety. They're at a secure location. But this was a coordinated attempt. Professional. Which means someone knows Danny matters to me. His voice is deadly calm. And they're going to use him to get to me. Section 8. The Battle. The drive to Alessio's compound is the longest 20 minutes of my life. He makes phone calls in rapid Italian, his voice clipped and commanding. I catch fragments. Lock down, full security, find them, and my hands shake in my lap. Someone tried to take Danny, my baby, my everything. We arrive to find the house lit up like a fortress, armed men stationed at every entrance. Alessio guides me inside with a hand on my back, and I'm taken to a room where Danny sits with Maria, eating cookies like nothing happened. Mama! He runs to me and I drop to my knees, crushing him against me. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? I'm fine. His voice is muffled against my shoulder. Dante said we were playing a game. We drove really fast and went through a red light. It was like a movie. I look up at Dante standing in the doorway. His expression is grim. 3 cars. Professional tale. I lost them, but they'll regroup. Alessio's jaw is tight. Who? Couldn't get a clear look, but the lead car was registered to a shell company out of New York. Dante's eyes meet Alessio's. Moretti family signature. The words mean nothing to me, but I see Alessio's expression darken. Vincent. That would be my guess. Who's Vincent? I ask, still holding Danny. My cousin. Alessio's voice is flat. He's been trying to take over my territory for the past year. Thinks he has more right to the family name than I do. And he tried to kidnap Danny to get to you. Not just kidnap. Alessio crouches down to my level, his eyes serious. Vincent doesn't do half measures. If he has Danny, he has leverage. Enough to force me out of Chicago entirely. Fear claws at my throat. Then we go to the police. The police can't protect you from Vincent Moretti. Alessio's voice is gentle but firm. He has people inside the department, inside the FBI. Anywhere you run, he'll find you. So what do? You stay here where you're safe. He stands and nods to Maria. Full lockdown protocols. No one in or out without my authorization. And you? I already know the answer, but I need to hear him say it. I'm going to end this. His eyes meet mine. Once and for all. Danny tugs on my sleeve. Mama, I'm scared. I pull him close, but I'm looking at Alessio, at the man who loves me, at the man who's about to walk into danger because my son became a target. Don't go, I whisper. I have to. He leans down and kisses my forehead. This is what I do, Elena. I protect what's mine. Let me help. The words are out before I can stop them. Alessio's eyes widen. No, absolutely not. I speak Italian. I can translate. I can help you negotiate. This isn't a negotiation. His voice is hard now. This is war, and you don't belong in it. But I'm already in it. I stand, leaving Danny with Maria. Vincent made me part of it the moment he went after my son. So stop trying to protect me from the reality of your world and let me be part of the solution. We stare at each other, and I see the war in his eyes, the desire to keep me safe versus the recognition that I'm right. There's a meet, he says finally. Tonight. Neutral ground. Vincent wants to talk terms. Terms for what? For me to walk away from Chicago. Leave everything I've built. His jaw clenches. In exchange, he leaves you and Danny alone. My heart stops. You'd do that? Give up everything for us? In a heartbeat. His voice is fierce. But it won't work. Vincent doesn't keep his word. The moment I leave, he'll come after you anyway. Because you're the woman I love, and that makes you a liability. Then we don't let you leave. I grab his hand. We end this. Together. Dante clears his throat from the doorway. Boss, we need to move. The meet is in an hour. Alessio looks at me for a long moment. Then he nods. Dante, get her a vest. And a weapon. My eyes widen. I don't know how to. You're not going to shoot anyone, Alessio says. But you need to look like you could. In this world, perception is everything. 30 minutes later, I'm wearing a bulletproof vest under a black blazer, a gun I barely know how to hold tucked into a shoulder holster. I look ridiculous, but when I catch my reflection in the car window, I see something else. I see a woman who's done being afraid. The meeting place is an abandoned warehouse on the south side. Cliché, but apparently effective. Alessio's convoy arrives first. 3 cars, a dozen armed men. I stay close to Alessio, my heart hammering. Vincent Moretti arrives 5 minutes later with his own entourage. He's younger than Alessio, maybe early 30s, with the same dark eyes but a cruel twist to his mouth. Cousin. Vincent's smile is all teeth. I see you brought your pet translator. Alessio's hand tightens on my back. Elena is here as my representative. Whatever terms you offer, she has the authority to accept or reject them. Vincent's eyes narrow. Interesting. I didn't realize you'd promoted her to management. I didn't realize you'd started kidnapping children, I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. What would your mother think? The smile drops from Vincent's face. You don't speak to me about my mother. Then don't come after my son. Tension crackles through the warehouse. Alessio's men shift, hands moving toward weapons. Vincent's men mirror them. This doesn't have to be complicated, Vincent says, his voice tight. Alessio walks away. I take over his operations. You and the kid go back to your little life. Everyone lives. Except that's not how it works, I say. Because the moment Alessio leaves, you'll come after Danny anyway. To make sure Alessio never tries to come back. Vincent's expression flickers. Surprised that I understand the game. So here's my counteroffer, I continue, channeling every ounce of courage I possess. You leave Chicago, you go back to New York or wherever you came from, and you never come near my family again. Vincent laughs, the sound harsh and mocking. Your family? You think you're part of the Moretti family now? I think Danny Torres and Elena Torres are under Alessio Moretti's protection. I step forward, and Alessio lets me, his presence solid at my back. And I think you underestimated what that means. It means you're a liability. Vincent snarls. A weakness. And weaknesses get exploited. It means she's mine. Alessio's voice cuts through the tension. And anyone who touches her answers to me. The two men stare at each other, decades of family rivalry and hatred crackling between them. Then Vincent pulls a gun. Everything happens at once. Alessio shoves me behind him. His men draw their weapons. Vincent's men do the same. The warehouse explodes with shouting in Italian and English. And then a single shot rings out. I scream, expecting to see Alessio fall. But he's standing, unharmed. Instead, Vincent is on his knees, clutching his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. Dante stands nearby, gun still raised. Boss's orders were clear. Anyone threatens Miss Torres, they get shot. Alessio steps toward his cousin, his voice deadly calm. You have 10 seconds to get out of my city, Vincent. Take your men. Take your operations. And if I ever see you again, Dante won't aim for your shoulder. Vincent staggers to his feet, his face twisted with rage and pain, but he's smart enough to recognize when he's lost. He stumbles toward his car, his men supporting him, shooting murderous looks over their shoulders. The warehouse falls silent as they leave. I'm shaking, adrenaline flooding my system. Alessio turns to me, his hands gentle on my shoulders. Are you hurt? I shake my head, unable to speak. You were incredible, he says softly. Terrifying and incredible. I thought he was going to kill you. My voice comes out as a whisper. He was going to try. Alessio pulls me against his chest, and I feel his heart hammering as fast as mine. But then you stepped forward and started negotiating like you've been doing this your whole life. I was so scared. Good. Fear keeps you alive. He tilts my chin up, his eyes searching mine. But you didn't let it stop you. That's what matters. 6 months later, I stand in Alessio's kitchen, our kitchen now, watching Danny and Maria make ravioli. Danny's gotten tall enough that he doesn't need the stool anymore, and his hands move with confidence as he seals the pasta edges. Mama, look. He holds up a perfect half moon, just like Nonna Maria taught me. Maria beams, ruffling his hair. You're a natural, Piccolo. I smile, sipping my coffee. Real Italian coffee that Alessio imports because he says American coffee is an insult to his heritage. The morning sun streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the life we've built together. It hasn't been easy. The FBI investigation closed with no charges filed. Alessio's lawyers are very good at what they do. Vincent recovered from his gunshot wound and slunk back to New York, where he's apparently struggling to maintain his own territory. And Marcus's child support payments arrive like clockwork every week, double what the court ordered. I still work at Bellissimo, but now I do more than translate. I manage 3 of Alessio's restaurants, handle vendor negotiations, train new staff. Turns out I'm good at business. Who knew? Danny thrives. New school, new friends, therapy to help process the attempted kidnapping. He still has nightmares sometimes, but they're less frequent. And Alessio is always there, sitting on the edge of his bed, telling him stories about Italy until he falls back asleep. Penny for your thoughts? Alessio's voice comes from behind me, his arms wrapping around my waist. I lean back against him, just thinking about how different everything is now. Good different? Terrifying different. I turn in his arms. But yes, good. He kisses me, slow and deep, tasting like coffee and promises. I have something for you. He pulls a small velvet box from his pocket, and my heart stutters. Alessio. It was my grandmother's. He opens it to reveal a simple platinum band set with a single diamond. Nothing flashy. Nothing that screams money. Just something real. Are you asking you to marry me? He smiles. Yes. Even though you're stubborn and infuriating. Even though you walked into a warehouse full of armed men to negotiate with my psychotic cousin. Even though you could have run months ago and chose to stay. His thumb brushes my cheek. Especially because of all those things. Tears blur my vision. You know what you're asking? A single mother with a history. A woman who'll never fit perfectly into your world. You fit perfectly into my heart. His voice is fierce. That's all that matters. I look at the ring, then at Danny, laughing with Maria over misshapen ravioli. Then back at Alessio, this dangerous, complicated, surprisingly gentle man who saved us and let us save him in return. Yes, I whisper. Yes, I'll marry you. He slides the ring onto my finger and Danny notices, letting out a whoop that makes Maria laugh. He runs over, throwing his arms around both of us. Does this mean Mr. Alessio is going to be my dad? Alessio crouches down to Danny's level. Only if that's okay with you. Danny pretends to think about it, his face serious. Then he grins. Okay. But you have to promise to teach me how to make gnocchi as good as Maria's. Deal. Alessio holds out his hand, and Danny shakes it solemnly. Later that night, after Danny is asleep and Maria has gone home, Alessio and I sit on the terrace overlooking the city. Chicago glitters below us, full of possibility and danger in equal measure. Any regrets? He asks, his hand finding mine. I think about my old life, the struggle, the loneliness, the constant fear. Then I think about this life. The risks, yes, but also the love, the security, the family we've created. None, I say. Not a single one. He pulls me close and I rest my head on his shoulder, watching the city lights. Somewhere out there, people are struggling the way I once did. Somewhere, there's a mother trying to figure out how to feed her child. Somewhere, there's someone who needs saving. But tonight, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. With the man who saw my son's empty lunchbox and decided to fill it. With the man who taught me that sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. With the man I love, who loves me back with a fierceness that makes me believe in second chances. My phone buzzes with a text from my lawyer. Marcus has filed to relinquish his parental rights, making way for Alessio to adopt Danny legally. It's the last piece falling into place. Good news? Alessio asks. The best. I show him the message and his smile is brilliant. So officially, we're a family. We've been a family since the day Danny showed you his lunchbox. I kiss him softly. You just made it. Legal. He laughs, the sound warm and free. I love you, Elena Torres, soon to be Elena Moretti. I love you too. I settle against him, feeling safe and cherished and home. My dangerous, complicated, wonderful man. The city glitters below us, and above us, stars fight through the light pollution. And between them, we've carved out something rare and precious. A love built on empty lunchboxes and full hearts. A family born from hunger and desperation and hope. A future that we'll build together, one day at a time. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.